Hey everyone, I just want to share this new template I've been working on with you all. This is a interactive dashboard built entirely in Excel, standard Excel features, and the surprising thing is you probably have all the skills to do this already. It doesn't actually use super advanced Excel concepts. It uses concepts that most people learn when they're first learning how to use Excel. So let me show you some of those concepts really quickly and explain how you can start building things like this. So this design is, at the foundational level, a series of shapes. Under the Insert tab, you have all these shape features. These shapes are just like PowerPoint. If you've ever used PowerPoint, when you're using PowerPoint, you tend to layer shapes and images on top of each other to create designs. People don't do that in Excel. And I think in large part it's because we're used to this version of Excel. We're used to grids and blocks and filling in the colors of the blocks. We don't even think about the possibility of getting a little more creative. And the reality is we can get a lot more creative. When you break out of that sort of grid layout, you can get things that look much more interesting and are much more engaging. So basically, we, under the Insert tab, add our shapes in, style our shapes just like in PowerPoint. You have the ability to format shapes. You can add different fill colors, line colors. You can add effects like shadows, reflections, and glows, 3D formats, all sorts of stuff. Those are straightforward. Just go through the menu. You'll see all the options. There's nothing crazy in there, and it's a worthwhile exercise. And then once we have our base, once we have our these blocks in the background, I start layering on text. That's just text like you would add in PowerPoint, right? You're inserting under shapes. One of the options is text right here. You just drop that in. Again, style it, make it look right. Get the color you want, get the size you want, the font you want. And the next one is metrics. So the next thing I do is I drop metrics in. So when you look at this, you might see this metric here, 187.8K sales. And you might think, how is that there? Because we're not in the grid layout right now, and somehow we've inserted a value into this dashboard. And we can move it. And we can't, apart from just moving it, it's obviously not just normal text, because when we change it, if we change to a different region, it updates. That's a crazy concept to some people. They've never seen Excel do that. And all it is, it's just a shape. I've inserted a rectangle. I've made the rectangle have no fill and no line, so you can't see the rectangle. And then up here in the formula bar, while the rectangle is selected, I've gone to the formula bar and hit equals, and then I've gone to a cell and click that cell. So this, oops, let me go back. This little box here is referencing pivot table cell C2. Whenever pivot table cell C2 updates, this box updates to show whatever's in it. So as we do these changes using our slicers, they're just like a pivot table filter is what a slicer is, it updates in real time. That's a powerful feature, and that's what allows us to start moving elements around the page. Instead of being stuck in those little cell grids we were showing earlier, instead of just having to put something in one little spot in one little box, now it can be anywhere, and we can move it around wherever we want, and style it and do all of those things you would need to do to create a dynamic design, and to be a little bit more creative like you would be in PowerPoint. Once I have all of my metrics in, right, here's a few more of them here, then I start layering in my charts. So in this case, these are donut charts. This is a double donut I've created here. Line charts, bar charts, nothing crazy. One of the core elements I tell people with charts is that when you add a chart in Excel, by default, it's going to have a solid fill in the back. Oh, excuse me. It is going to have a color in the background oftentimes, and it's just not going to look great. So the first thing I tell people to do is click on your chart, select no fill, select no line, so that it's totally clean in the background. See, there's nothing in the background. It's just the chart itself. That's the only piece I want. So get that set up. Make sure it's nice and clean, no background colors, no anything, no line around the edge. And then style your series and your labels, in this case, vertical axis labels or your data series. You do that by clicking into it, going into your line options and your marker options, changing the color, changing the styles, etc. But having a clean base chart is kind of the core of all of this. If we want to change the background color, we do that by changing the background box that we have. We don't do it by changing the color in the chart itself. Um, this just makes things a lot easier. It makes layering easier. Having that transparent space makes it a little bit more adaptable. It can fit into a wider range of designs. It's just a much easier way of doing things. Some of these charts I have in here use some fancy tricks, which I'll get into in a later video, but they're at their core, they're really nothing that fancy. They're just a regular chart, in this case a regular bar chart, with a little overlap of the two series. And in this case, I've just added, like, for the fill color, I've just added a little bit of a gradient. That's it. And it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more interesting. I've changed my labels to be a color I like that matches my design. I've taken some time to just clean it up and take out the background colors and all of that. And at the core of it, it's just a very simple, it's just a simple chart. But it just happens to be in context, placed on a card amongst the rest of this dashboard with other charts and other visualizations and other texts that are similar colors. And it creates an effect that's just a lot more interesting, a lot more engaging, feels a lot more customized and pro. It feels like a fancier BI tool than it actually is. And anyone can do this stuff in Excel. Slicers, filters, these are all just basic pivot table concepts. You can do a quick Google search. It'll take you 5 minutes to learn how to add a slicer or a timeline. There's nothing fancy there, right? You know, I do have navigation here on this page, but even navigation is not actually too hard, right? It's just all these are text, and I've right-clicked them, I've hit hyperlink, and I've linked them to a different page. That's it. This whole thing is kind of built off of really simple concepts that are just done in a way that considers visual design a little bit more than you might normally consider visual design. Using those principles, you can start to build crazy powerful dashboards. And yes, Power BI might be able to build something like this faster, or Tableau might be able to build something faster or better in some way. But those tools require people to learn a new platform and to get access to a new platform and to buy a new platform. And that's just not an option for a lot of people. A lot of people operate in the world of Excel. And they don't have time to learn something new, but they can leverage the skills they already have in Excel to build something much, much more powerful than they might have expected. So for a lot of folks out there, just taking some time, look at a template or toolkit like this. I send these out on my newsletter for free. I also have a much larger toolkit I sell on my website. I'll link those below. But even just Google free Excel templates, free Excel dashboard template. Start pulling apart the files. Start looking at the pieces. Start kind of understanding how it all fits together and how it's built. And much faster than you might expect, you'll be able to start building much better dashboards than you're building right now, without having to learn an entirely new system, without having to learn an entirely new tool. It's worth the time. Like I said, I really do think anyone can do this, and you are going to absolutely impress everyone you work with if you come into a meeting with a dashboard that looks like this. So take the time to do it. Check it out. And if you have questions, let me know below in the comments. Subscribe if you want. I'll go a little bit deeper on some of these topics and new videos coming up. And like I said, I've got links to my newsletter, which goes out for free every month with free templates, along with my full-on template toolkit, which is paid, but a much bigger set of toolkits, or toolkit templates if you want them. And thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, I'll have more coming up soon, more dashboards to share with you, and good luck on your Excel journey. Bye.